So I'm here with Simon Kemp from Sollertis. Simon, you've just given a presentation about BRM strategies. Seem to go down very well with the audience.
I hope so.
Hope so, yeah. One of the things that really jumped out, you talked about CIOs saying that one of their big priorities or a critical priority is aligning IT with business outcomes. Yet when you asked the room, you showed a maturity level 1 to 5, 5 being very mature, ready for digital transformation, right. 1 to 2 being kind of ad hoc or just at a low level. Most of the room was kind of 1 or 2. I mean, how frightening is that for CIOs and CEOs?
Right, exactly. What it is. I mean, let's face it. It's not a great place to be. It's not a surprise, to be honest. We see a lot of this as a result of probably a lot of IT organizations have come from that era of IT is been almost kind of like the semi-subservient type of role. And in order to progress and become much more of a strategic partner, there's a journey that they have to go through. And the BRMI, for instance, they have a great relationship maturity model that describes, it's a 5-layered maturity model that starts off at ad hoc, into order taker, progressing into service provider, into trusted advisor, and into strategic partner. And the reality is that so many organizations, unfortunately, maybe they just think they are in that ad hoc and an order taker mode, whereas actually they might be better than what they think they are. I would hope that is the case. But there's a few and far between that are really sort of confident enough to go, yeah, we are strategic partners, or yeah, we're good at trusted advisors. I think the reality is that if we really analyzed it properly, they're probably in some of their relationships with some of their business partners, it might be in an ad hoc type of relationships, where the others, they do have a trusted advisor type of relationship. That's probably the reality of it. But yeah, there's a way to go.
Sure, yeah, and you also talked about, you asked the audience whether they really understood the idea of what the business strategy is. Yeah. And like hardly anyone in the room said that they did. Now, BRM's kind of sometimes seen as being a bit happy-clappy and about the minutiae of relationships, but that tells us a different story, doesn't it? That this is about something really fundamental about how are you going to deliver a business outcome.
Completely. BRM as a term has been around for some time, and I sometimes think it actually hasn't been the greatest of favors for the capability, because what we're talking about here is strategic BRM. And strategic BRM is all about not just aligning, there's this word called aligning to business strategy, it's convergence. And convergence is a term that is used to describe a fusing of IT and business. It's fused together to define strategy. So alignment sort of tends to imply a trailing type of activity. Business is defined the strategy, and IT comes along afterwards to align to that, right? Convergence is, I'll do like this. Yeah, that's how I do it. But it's converging to help define business strategy. And so strategic BRM is a very critical and important capability that all organizations and IT organizations, for the sake of digital transformation and for the sake of driving capabilities that connect to customer experience, essential. Essential.
Well, I mean, along those lines, you talked about the need to be very personal in the BRM world, connect with people to understand where you can deliver business value. You also referenced the fact that there are people within the business that are going to resist that, and they're going to say, I don't want to talk to you about business outcomes, you're an IT person. So how do you bridge that gap?
Typically, I mean, there's a sort of like a sort of throwaway comment, but I think it's actually got some merit. The first time a business relationship manager goes to have an engagement with a new stakeholder in the business or tries to form that relationship, let's be honest, they've probably got to drag the service delivery manager with them. Business relationship managers are not responsible for the delivery of service. That's service delivery management. But it's actually good to have service delivery management in the same room initially, so that when that stakeholder says, don't talk to me at the moment about my business outcomes and my business strategy, I'm not ready to engage at that level with you yet, IT. Yeah, they're seeing IT as an overall thing, because they're saying, I'm not ready to have that engagement with you yet, because actually, I don't know, I'm so annoyed with the fact that these printers still aren't fixed, right? Well, that's a service delivery issue. And service delivery, going again back to that maturity model, service delivery and service excellence is on that path. So level 3, service provider, is about service delivery excellence in service operations, right? And that means cost transparency, that means doing what you say you're going to do, it means being reliable, it means the printers are dealt with, they are fixed, it's all hunky-dory. So the business relationship manager is not having to go into that conversation with effectively a trash lid, yeah, in front of them, hiding behind these other issues and being bombarded with operational noise. It should be, no, actually, I'm here to help and guide and advise and enable critical business capabilities and understand what that means. And yes, service delivery is a key part of that, but that's this person's responsibility. So as an orchestrator, I'm bringing that person into the room as well. Because that's what BRM also is. It's their orchestrator role.
This is to do with that them and us mentality that's historically existed in IT, isn't it? IT's here, the business is there. You talked about the importance of the term customers. Explain what you mean by that and why that's important.
Well, unfortunately, and for the audience predominantly in the session today, IT service management and ITIL, for all the good that it did, and it's done some amazing, incredible things. I think we often forget the definition of service, by the way. I think people really need to revisit what service actually means. But some of the language that was introduced, or I say introduced, I think it was adopted. And I think practitioners and people that said, oh, I'm doing ITIL. Yeah, if there is such a thing as doing ITIL. But people that went down that route for the last 15 years have gone, oh, and in order to do ITIL, I must be using this language called customer when I'm referring to my business partner. Actually, that's created quite a them and us scenario. And it actually doesn't do IT much favours, I don't think. I think it puts them in a very subservient type of role. It doesn't lead to that engagement that says, no, your outcome, stakeholder, yeah, whatever the stakeholder is, your business outcome, your measurement of success is actually now a shared measurement of success, because that's, as an IT enabling, technology is an enabler of business capability, right? So we're in this together. So if we're in this together, why am I calling you my customer? That doesn't really make much sense. Yeah, and we really need to recognize that and start maybe shifting the language a little bit around that. It just puts IT on the back foot, I think.
Sure. Thank you for your time, Simon.
Thank you. Good to see you.